enough to have like a bunch of my sculpture interspersed around the city. Ed McAbobby, local businessman, fabricator. He's got a number of businesses. Former student of mine, Daniel Newman. Dan has some work in an opening at the Soap Gallery, which is just across the street. We're coming down the Market Street Bridge, the building with the arches. That opening takes place tonight from 6 to 9. So if you're interested to see a little bit more of what Dan does, you can go across the street. I met Ed at one of the brainstorming sessions early on in the process of developing the projects. I had a vague notion that I wanted to make some sort of sculptural bus shelter. Ed had some shipping containers that he was interested in transforming into something unique. So from there I went and created a model. The model on the right, which is what I proposed. Charlie Nelson, consultant for WRTA, met with me. We talked about potential sites. I was introduced to Judy Rodriguez, who is the head of transportation at WRTA. They decided that a suitable site would be in front of the courthouse. And for various reasons, the design review board, pedestrian traffic, it was a little bit larger than the existing shelter. So the design review approved the design, but not the location. So since then, we've come up with a different location, which is in the very last slide, which I think is a bit better. And I'll have Ed talk a little bit about the container. Next slide. So that's the three of us out outside of Ed's shop in North Lima.
It's basically some of the containers that we had at our shop. The idea that we had going into this before I even met with Tony is we were going to try to repurpose material in different aspects. The first one is actually to make a totally put two together and make a housing for low-income people. Actually, totally one bedroom, full plumbing, everything, have it in a container. So we started with those type ideas and met with Tony and figured we could do different things. And one was when he talked about the bus stop, making the sculpture out of a container. And sort of tied in with the history that we have in Youngstown, noting that doing research on these, majority of the steel that's made for these containers is made of U.S. Steel, which usually had a big presence here at the Ohio Works a long time ago. But is an American company based out of Pittsburgh. The steel is a special grade. It's traveling across the ocean for like against your salt water. It's painted, these containers have 5 coats of paint on them. They're rated for wind for 175 mile an hour. So it sort of had a lot of purposes that we could look at doing. And talking with Tony and getting into this project here, we noted that the history that we had with the steel and with what he was doing with the art project and sculptures, that maybe we could combine a little bit of that, repurpose some material, and make it as a useful structure. And something went from that to actually, like I said, to turn it into a bus stop or whatever we had to do with it. It's going to be a very simple process. We're just going to take one corner, cut it out as a different pyramid, and use that for the top, take some of the metal off of the sides and restructure that to make it as the platform to hold the structure. And then we're going to do the, make his corner post too, so that it will have his glass, support the glass so that we can have an open concept for the bus stop. But right there is, we were inside the one, as you can see, there's a center post in there that we have basically taken off the one side off of both of them together. And that's what you have on the inside. So you can sort of lay these out anyway, cut windows in them, do whatever, but for this purpose here, we're gonna get a certain size container and cut it apart and use it for the bus stop. And that's a shop that we're gonna be going at. That's our shop that we're out in North Lima. We do a lot of fabrication for steel mills. We still work at US Steel in Pittsburgh, AK Steel, Allegheny Ludlam. So we have a lot of ties with the steel business.
That's the rendering that I presented to the design review committee. And the depth of the, well, for the purpose of putting it in between the two trees, I shrunk it, so I changed the design slightly. I added another triangle to the pyramid canopy, which would increase the capacity on the inside of the shelter, but also the footprint is a little smaller, but still in those folks' opinion, a little too large for that site. So the solution then is to place the shelter at this intersection, which coincidentally is next to some bike rack sculptures that I installed a few years back. And when I travel around downtown, I'll glance over to see if they're being used. I don't think a lot of people understand that they are intended to be used to lock a bicycle off. So now that there's going to be a bus shelter next to those, I'm hoping that they'll get a little more use. Also, Judy asked the question when I met with her, Charlie, a couple weeks ago, if the structure had to be red. Well, no, I chose that color because it's, if I was going to paint something steel and have it speak of that industry, that reddish orange to me is optimum. It would have been about the color of the Spring Commons Bridge, but this way now it certainly ties in, so it becomes definitely part of the WRTA infrastructure. There won't be any question that that's where you wait for the bus. I really like those colors as well. They're pretty hot colors. The underside is going to be painted bright white. Another friend of mine is going to make up some strip lighting, so there'll be some recessed LED lights along the inside perimeter of it, so we'll be lit at nighttime. So, yeah, what do you think?
Dominic, just very quickly, I'm Charlie Nelson with WRTA, and we were absolutely delighted to work with Tony. It's been a perfect project for our city.
Thank you, Charlie. Any further questions?
Does anyone have any questions for us? You know, when we wrote this grant, oh, Julius, yeah.
How can we duplicate this grant across the city? Is anybody thought about that process?
That's why we have Seth here. I'm going to call Seth up, but that's really the goal. To Ian's point, make sure you attend design review, you get involved in your civic processes. This project, beyond obviously the tangible gains it will create in the community with the final 5 installations, is really about getting the greater community introduced to the civic processes, the municipal processes that exist, such as design review. So we want you all to attend, whether you're proposing a project or interested in how that process works, so you can get involved. And hopefully after the attention, we have media here tonight, we have a good crowd, we can we can let, you know, everybody know what we're doing here in Youngstown and get connected to people like Seth and NEA and LISC and other organizations that lead us to other funding opportunities, which, you know, we'll help package and submit. So we got to compete with these other cities. That's really what it's about. And by doing these projects with the community, as inclusive as this project has been, I think that'll put us in a good place to compete with the rest of the country and the other communities that are going after these types of projects.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was a model that we proposed in the grant, you know, to bring city planners, urban planners together with artists and designers to problem solve for the city, to enhance the city, to respond to needs that have been identified. And I think it's one of the things the NEA liked about it.
Thank you. I think it's
Pretty
definitely.
unique, yeah.
Further questions?